The rain hammered the roof of the old Victorian in Portland like it was trying to drown out the scream building in Elias Thorne's chest. He clutched the plastic stick in his trembling hand, the two pink lines staring back at him like a verdict from some indifferent judge. Pregnant. At 27, in a world that still whispered doubts about men like him carrying life, Elias felt the ground tilt beneath his feet, the city outside blurring into a gray haze of what-ifs and never-could-bes. His phone buzzed on the chipped Formica counter, Jasper's name lighting up the screen, but Elias couldn't answer. Not yet. Not with the weight of this secret pressing against his ribs like a second heartbeat. He slid down the cabinet door, knees to his chest, and whispered to the empty kitchen, "What the hell have I done?" Elias had always been the dreamer in Willow Bend, that sleepy suburb on the outskirts of Portland, where the Willamette River snaked through evergreens like a vein of forgotten silver. Growing up, he'd sketched the world in charcoal smudges on napkins, capturing the curve of his mother's tired smile or the way his father's calloused hands gripped the steering wheel of their rusted Ford during those long drives to nowhere. Art school in the city had been his escape, a burst of color against the monochrome of small-town expectations. But even there, the whispers followed. Too sensitive, too queer, too much like the wind, beautiful but unreliable. Now, at 27, Elias poured lattes at the Beanery on Hawthorne Boulevard, his sketches tucked into a battered Moleskine that dreamed of galleries and solitude. He wasn't supposed to be here, staring at a pregnancy test in a kitchen that smelled of yesterday's takeout Thai and fresh regret. The clinic had called it a miracle of modern medicine, a trial program for same-sex couples blending gene therapy with surrogacy tech that let the impossible happen. Elias and Jasper had signed the waivers on a whim, after too many bottles of Pinot and dreams whispered in the dark about building something real. Jasper Hale. God. Just thinking his name sent a shiver through Elias, equal parts ache and anchor. They'd met 6 months ago at a queer art walk in the Pearl District, Jasper's laugh cutting through the murmur of the crowd like sunlight-piercing fog. 32, with olive skin from his Italian-American roots in Philly, dark curls that fell just so, and hazel eyes that held stories of boardrooms and protests in equal measure. Jasper was a civil rights attorney, the kind who wore tailored suits to court and faded tees to rallies, fighting for the marginalized with a fire that made Elias feel seen, truly seen, for the first time. Their first date had been rain-soaked perfection. Fish tacos from a truck on Division Street, wandering the Saturday market until the stalls blurred into laughter. Jasper's hand in his, warm and sure, had felt like permission to want more. Nights blurred into weekends, bodies entwining in Jasper's loft overlooking the Burnside Bridge, where the city's pulse synced with their own. "You're my safe harbor," Jasper had murmured once, tracing the freckles across Elias's collarbone, and Elias had believed him, every syllable. But miracles came with fine print. The treatment had been experimental, whispered about in hushed forums for gay dads-to-be, a cocktail of hormones and stem cells that rewired the body in ways science was still chasing. Elias had volunteered, driven by a quiet hunger for legacy, for proof that love could rewrite biology. The side effects hit like autumn storms. Nausea that bent him double over the sink, fatigue that glued his eyelids shut mid-sketch. Jasper had been there at first, rubbing his back, brewing ginger tea, promising they'd face it together. Then the doubts crept in, insidious as ivy on brick. Elias's sister, Mara, had cornered him over FaceTime from her cozy bungalow in Eugene, her voice sharp as she cradled her own toddler. "Elias, honey, this isn't some fairy tale. You're an artist, not a mom. What if you can't handle it? What if it breaks you?" Her words landed like punches, echoing the texts from old friends in Willow Bend. "Congrats? But really, dude, you're gonna raise a kid in this economy?" With him, Jasper's family was worse. His mother, a steel-haired widow from South Philly, had mailed a care package of rosaries and pamphlets on traditional values. Her note tucked inside reading, "Miracles are God's, not man's folly. Come home, Figlio." Even Jasper, the Rock, had faltered. Last week, after a brutal day in court defending a trans kid's right to play sports, he'd come home hollow-eyed, collapsing onto the couch with a scotch in hand. Elias, swollen-bellied and queasy, had tried to bridge the gap, but Jasper's gaze had drifted to the ultrasound photo pinned to the fridge. A grainy blob that was their future. "Elias," he'd said, voice cracking like thin ice. "I love you, but this is terrifying. What if we're not enough? What if I screw it up like my dad did?" The words hung there, unspoken betrayal slicing deeper than any scalpel. Elias had retreated to the bathroom, locking the door against the flood of tears, wondering if love was just another pretty lie artists chased. Portland in late fall was a city of contrasts, slick streets reflecting neon signs while evergreens bowed under the weight of endless drizzle. Elias navigated it all with a hand on his barely there bump, the beanery's espresso machine hissing like a confidant as he frothed milk for the morning rush. Customers came and went, hipsters and flannel debating craft beers, tech bros nursing hangovers, but Elias's mind wandered to the life inside him, a secret flutter that felt like wings against his ribs. That afternoon, as the sky bruised purple, Jasper appeared at the counter, his suit rumpled, tie askew. "Hey, beautiful," he said, leaning in for a kiss that tasted of coffee and apology. Elias melted into it, just for a second, before pulling back. "Rough day." Jasper nodded, sliding onto a stool. "Lost the appeal. Kid's family is being torn apart by bigots with badges." His eyes, shadowed, met Elias's. "Makes me think. About us. About this." His hand ghosted over Elias's abdomen, tentative. Elias swallowed the lump in his throat. "Jasper, we can't keep dancing around it. Everyone thinks we'll fail, my sister, your mom, even you sometimes. But I feel it. This baby's real. And so are we." Jasper's jaw tightened, the lawyer in him warring with the lover. "I know. I don't want to lose you to this. To the what-ifs." The bell above the door jingled. A group of college kids tumbling in, and the moment shattered. Jasper left with a promise of dinner, but Elias watched him go, the rain swallowing his silhouette, doubt pooling like puddles on the sidewalk. Nights were the hardest. In the loft, with its exposed brick and views of the steel bridge's lights dancing on the water, Elias lay awake, Jasper's snores a distant rumble. He traced patterns on his skin, imagining the baby's tiny fingers, wondering if this child would inherit his sensitivity or Jasper's fire. Dreams came fragmented. Mara holding a perfect child while his dissolved like smoke. Jasper walking away, briefcase in hand, leaving Elias alone in a hospital bed. He'd wake gasping, heart pounding, the city's hum a lullaby of isolation. One evening, after closing the cafe, Elias wandered to Laurelhurst Park, the paths slick underfoot, leaves carpeting the ground in crimson decay. He sat on a bench by the duck pond, sketchpad open but blank, the pencil hovering like a held breath. That's when the call came. Mara, her voice a mix of concern and edge. "Elias, Mom's worried sick. Says you're playing God out there. Come home for Thanksgiving. Bring Jasper. Show us you're okay." He wanted to snap back, to tell her okay was a moving target, but instead he murmured agreement, the lie bitter on his tongue. Thanksgiving loomed like a storm front, Willow Bend calling him back to roots that chafed. Elias pictured the family table in the old craftsman house, turkey steaming, his father's silence louder than words, Mara's kids shrieking with joy he couldn't touch. Jasper had agreed to go, but tension crackled between them like static. "We'll prove them wrong," Jasper said that night, pulling Elias close, their bodies aligning in the familiar dance. But as they moved together, sweat slick and urgent, Elias wondered if proof was just another word for desperation. The drive to Willow Bend was a blur of highways and evergreens, the Ford's heater blasting against the chill seeping from the windows. Jasper gripped the wheel, his free hand on Elias's knee, a silent vow. They arrived as dusk fell, the house glowing like a beacon, Mara's minivan in the drive. Hugs were exchanged, awkward and perfunctory, his mother's eyes lingering on Elias's midsection with a mix of awe and accusation. "Look at you," she whispered, her hand hovering. carrying life. Unnatural but beautiful. Dinner was a minefield. His father, grizzled and quiet from years at the lumber mill, carved the bird with mechanical precision, grunting approval at Jasper's stories of court wins. Mara dominated the talk, her toddler smearing gravy on the tablecloth, her husband nodding along. But when the wine flowed, the barbs emerged. "So, Elias," Mara said, fork poised, "how's the miracle treating you? Still drawing those pretty pictures? Or has the bun in the oven cramped your style?" Laughter rippled, forced, and Elias forced a smile, his hand under the table clenching Jasper's. Jasper jumped in, voice steady. "It's a lot, but Elias is stronger than any of us. This baby's going to change everything, for the better." His mother's call from Philly had been looped in via video, her pixelated face stern. "Just pray it's healthy, boys. Science can't fix a broken soul." The screen went dark, leaving silence thick as fog. Later, in the guest room with its floral wallpaper peeling at the edges, Elias broke. "They see me as a freak show," he whispered, curled against Jasper's chest. Jasper held him tighter, lips brushing his temple. "They don't see you, but I do, and I believe in us." For a moment, it was enough, their breaths sinking in the dark, the babies flutter a secret Morse code of persistence. But dawn brought the first crack. Elias woke to nausea, bolting for the bathroom, retching until his throat burned. Jasper hovered, helpless, while downstairs, his mother knocked softly. "Elias? You all right, dear?" He splashed water on his face, meeting her eyes in the mirror, pale blue, lined with worry. "Just morning stuff, Mom." She pulled him into a hug, her voice muffled against his shoulder. "I just want you happy. It's so much." The days blurred into forced normalcy. Walks along the river, where otters played in the current. Pie baking with Mara, flour dusting their hands like snow. Jasper charmed them, recounting Philly cheesesteak runs and protest marches. But Elias caught the glances, the whispers when backs turned. On the last night, around the fire pit in the backyard, sparks rising like prayers, his father finally spoke. "Son, life's hard enough without inviting judgment. But if this is your path, walk it proud." The words, gruff and rare, lodged in Elias's throat like a stone. Back in Portland, the city felt altered, sharper edged. The loft's walls closed in, the bridge's lights mocking their fragility. Elias threw himself into sketches, charcoal flying across pages. Visions of a child with Jasper's curls, his own eyes, laughing in sun-dappled parks. But the doubts festered. A routine checkup revealed elevated risks, the doctor's voice clinical. Bed rest might be wise. Stress isn't helping. Jasper nodded, but his eyes screamed panic. Culminated one stormy Tuesday. Jasper came home late, rain dripping from his coat, a bottle of bourbon in hand. "Another loss," he muttered, pouring a glass. Elias, feet up on the ottoman, reached for him. "Talk to me." Jasper paced, words tumbling out. A client betrayed by his own partner, a custody battle lost to prejudice. "It's all falling apart out there, Elias. And here, we're gambling everything on a maybe." The glass slammed down, amber sloshing. "What if the baby doesn't make it? What if we don't?" Elias rose, slow, the weight in his belly a reminder. "Then we fight, like you do every day." But Jasper's face crumpled, and he sank to his knees, forehead to Elias's abdomen. "I'm scared, of failing you, of being the man my father was, absent when it counted." Tears soaked Elias's shirt, hot and unfiltered. In that vulnerability, Elias saw the boy Jasper hid, the one who'd lost his dad to addiction young, vowing never to repeat the cycle. They clung there, the storm raging outside, thunder rolling like judgment. "We're not them," Elias whispered, fingers in Jasper's curls. "We're us, and that's enough." Jasper looked up, eyes raw. "Promise me you'll tell me if it's too much, if we're too much." Elias nodded, but the seed of fear took root, twining with the life growing inside. Winter deepened, Portland's rains turning to sleet that iced the streets. Elias's body changed, curves softening, skin stretching taut over the swell that now demanded pillows and loose sweaters. The beanery shifts shortened, his boss, a burly dyke named Riley with tattoos of Frida Kahlo, shooing him home with care packages of scones. Rest up, kid. That little one's got stories to tell. Jasper doubled down, taking pro bono cases closer to home, cooking pasta from his nana's recipes. Their nights filled with low laments and higher hopes. But betrayal brewed in subtler forms. Elias's old college buddy, Theo, visited from Seattle, crashing on the couch with tales of gallery shows and hookups. Over beers one night, while Jasper worked late, Theo's eyes flicked to Elias's bump. Man, this is wild. But real talk, you sure Jasper's in? I saw him at that bar last month, chatting up some twink. Looked cozy. Elias laughed it off, heat rising, but the image lodged like a splinter. Theo left the next day, hugging too tight, and Elias scrolled his phone in the dim light, finding nothing but ghosts. Still, doubt whispered. Was Jasper pulling away? The weight too heavy? The clinic appointment that changed everything came on a crystalline morning. Snow dusting the roses in Washington Park. The ultrasound hummed to life, the tech's voice bright. There's the heartbeat, strong, steady. And look, a little fighter. The screen bloomed with their child, limbs waving like a conductor's baton, and Jasper's hand crushed Elias's, tears tracking silent paths. Our kid, he breathed, wonder cracking his voice. But the doctor pulled them aside after, charts in hand. Everything's progressing, but Elias, your blood pressure's up. We need to monitor closely. Rest truly, no stress. Jasper drove home in silence, knuckles white, then exploded in the kitchen. This is my fault, pushing you into this. Elias rounded on him, voice steady despite the tremor. Your fault? We chose this. Together. Jasper's face twisted. Did we? Or did I let my ego drag you into my white knight bullshit? The argument spilled like wine on white linen. Accusations of distance, of unspoken fears. You think I'm weak? Elias hurled, chest heaving. That I can't do this. Jasper recoiled as if slapped. No, I think you're everything, and I'm terrified of losing it. He grabbed his coat, storming out into the flurrying snow, door slamming like finality. Elias collapsed onto the couch, sobs racking him, the baby kicking as if in protest. Hours ticked by, the city muffled under white. When Jasper returned, snow-crusted and shivering, he dropped to his knees again. I walked to the bridge, thought about jumping, not literally, but giving up. Elias pulled him up, their foreheads touching. Don't. We're past the edge now. They made love that night, slow and sacred, reclaiming each other in whispers and touches, the storm outside yielding to a fragile calm. Spring teased at the edges of winter, cherry blossoms unfurling along the esplanade like pink promises. Elias's belly rounded fully now, a taut drum under his palms, the baby's movements a daily dialogue. Sharp jabs for attention, gentle rolls like waves on the Columbia. He quit the beanery, living off savings and Jasper's salary, filling days with prenatal yoga and sketches that poured out in feverish bursts. The child in a field of lupins, Jasper's face lit by dawn. But conflict simmered. Mara's texts grew pointed, heard about complications. Sure you don't need me? Laced with I told you so. Jasper's mother called weekly, her prayers a litany of guilt. And then, the betrayal. A letter from the clinic, forwarded from Theo's address in Seattle. Elias tore it open, heart stuttering. It was a waiver from the trial's ethics board, signed by Jasper months ago, requesting withdrawal from the program due to unforeseen risks, dated before their Thanksgiving trip. The paper crumpled in his fist, rage blooming hot. Jasper walked in that evening, arms full of groceries, whistling a Springsteen tune. Hey, love, I got that arugula you. Elias thrust the letter at him, voice ice. Explain. Jasper's face drained of color, groceries scattering like fallen leaves. Elias, it's not. I signed it in panic after that first scare. Thought I was protecting us. I tore it up, never sent it. Liar. The word hung, venomous. Elias backed away, the kitchen spinning. You doubted us from the start. Everyone was right. Jasper reached, desperate. No, please. I was scared, but I stayed. I'm here. But Elias saw the fracture, the trust shattered like cheap glass. He retreated to the bedroom, locking the door, curling around his bump as if to shield the baby from the fallout. Days passed in Arctic silence. Jasper slept on the couch, leaving notes, coffee's hot. I love you. That Elias crumpled unread. He wandered the city alone, hand on his belly, the Willamettes flow a mirror to his turmoil. At a park bench near the food carts, he sketched strangers. A drag queen hawking tamales, her laugh a beacon. An old man feeding pigeons, eyes distant with loss. Life's a gamble, kid, the man said, noticing the bump. But the house always wins if you fold early. Elias called Mara that night, voice breaking. I need you. She arrived by train the next morning, her hug fierce, toddler in tow. Oh, Eli. They talked for hours, Mara admitting her own fears of motherhood, the nights she'd cried into her husband's shoulder. I pushed because I care too much. But you're not me. You're you. Jasper watched from the doorway, silent, his presence a plea. The turning point came at a rally Jasper organized, Pride in the Park, banners waving for reproductive rights, including the new frontiers for queer families. Elias went, uninvited, standing at the crowd's edge, the baby's kicks sinking with the chants. Jasper spotted him from the stage, voice faltering mid-speech. He stepped down, weaving through bodies, dropping to one knee before Elias like a proposal. I failed you once, he said into the mic, voice amplified for all. Doubted when I should have believed. But this man, this family, we're the revolution. Forgive me? The crowd roared, but Elias saw only Jasper's eyes, raw and real. Tears blurred the scene as he nodded, pulling him up into a kiss that tasted of salt and second chances. Mara hooped from the sidelines, her kid waving a tiny flag. In that moment, under Portland's forgiving sky, the betrayal mended, not erased, but woven into their story's fabric. Summer swelled, heavy with heat and anticipation. Elias's due date circled like a hawk, doctors monitoring with hawkish eyes. The loft transformed, crib assembled in the corner, tiny onesies folded like origami dreams. Jasper attended every class, his hands steady on Elias's back during breathing exercises, whispering encouragements that bridged the old wounds. Yet climax brewed in shadows. One humid night, pain lanced through Elias like lightning, contractions gripping without mercy. It's time, he gasped, Jasper's face paling as he grabbed the go-bag. The drive to the hospital was a blur of horns and heartbeats, rain sheeting the windshield like tears. Labor stretched eternal, hours of sweat and screams in the sterile birthing suite. Jasper's hand bruised in Elias's grip, Mara's voice a distant anchor via speakerphone. Complications arose, swift and cruel. The baby's heart rate dipped, monitors beeping alarm. We need to operate, the doctor said, masked face calm. Jasper's world narrowed to Elias's pale face, his own prayers silent. In the OR, under harsh lights, Elias drifted on the edge of fog, Jasper's voice tethering him. Stay with me. Our boy's waiting. The cry shattered the tension, a thin, furious wail that filled the room like dawn. They named him River, after the Willamette that had witnessed their storms, his tiny fists waving defiance. Jasper held him first, tears carving paths down his stubble, then passed him to Elias, their eyes meeting over the swaddle, forged anew in this fragile miracle. Recovery was a haze of feedings and firsts. River's latch, tentative then sure. Jasper's lullabies in Italian, soft and stumbling. Willow Bend came calling, his mother arriving with quilts and quiet awe, Mara cooing over her nephew. Even Jasper's mom flew in, her rosary clicking as she rocked the baby, murmuring, "A fighter, like his dad's." But the true change rippled outward. Jasper's firm took on the clinic's case pro bono, challenging discriminatory clauses in fertility laws. Elias's sketches evolved, portraits of queer parents, exhibited in a Pearl District gallery, drawing crowds who saw their own stories reflected. River became the key, not to fate's rewrite, but to its gentle bend. A boy with hazel-flecked blue eyes, laughing in sunlit parks, teaching compassion in coups, freedom in first steps, identity in the simple act of being held. In quiet moments, Elias watched Jasper with their son, the lawyer's hands gentle as he traced tiny toes, and knew the doubters had been half right. They had nearly failed, teetering on betrayal's brink. But failure wasn't the end. It was the forge. And in River's gaze, they found the map to something truer. A life where love, messy and mended, changed everything. The rains returned that fall, but Portland felt warmer, the bridge's lights a constellation of home. Elias sketched by the window, River gurgling on a blanket, Jasper's arm around them both. "We did it," Jasper whispered, kissing his temple. Elias smiled, hand over his husband's. "No, we're doing it. Every day." And in that ongoing tense, they found their forever. A testament to the heart's quiet revolutions, where one small life unlocked doors long bolted shut. The autumn leaves in Portland turned the streets into veins of fire, but inside the loft, Elias Thorne felt only the steady thrum of River's heartbeat against his chest, a rhythm that drowned out the world's noise. At 28 now, with faint lines etching the corners of his eyes from sleepless nights and stolen joys, Elias had traded charcoal for crayons, his sketches evolving into murals on the nursery wall. Whimsical forests where foxes danced with fireflies, a nod to the wild heart he'd passed to his son. Jasper moved through their days like a man reborn, his suits traded for jeans more often, the fire of his advocacy now tempered with the soft glow of fatherhood. River was 4 months old, a bundle of curiosity with Jasper's dark curls already sprouting and Elias's blue eyes peering out with unnerving wisdom. Feedings came at odd hours, the city's hum a backdrop to cries that pierced the dark. But in those moments, Elias and Jasper found their sync. A handoff seamless as a relay, a shared glance heavy with the unspoken. "We made this." The betrayal of the waiver lingered like a scar, faint but felt in quiet arguments over Jasper's late nights at the office, Elias's flare-ups of insecurity when a client's call pulled him away. "You're slipping back," Elias would say, voice low as River nursed. Jasper would counter with weary eyes, "I'm building our future, not escaping it." Mara visited often, her minivan a lifeline from Eugene, toddler in tow and arms laden with casseroles that filled the loft with the scent of home. "You're glowing, Eli," she'd say, bouncing River on her hip, but her eyes scanned Jasper with a sister's wariness. "Just keep talking. Secrets kill more than silence." Elias nodded, the advice sinking like stones in the Willamette, knowing she spoke from her own marriage's near misses. One crisp October afternoon, as golden light slanted through the windows, Elias bundled River for a walk along the esplanade. Jasper was in court, defending a queer couple's adoption rights, his texts buzzing in. "Killing it. Miss you both." Elias pushed the stroller past food carts steaming with falafel and pho, the river glittering like shattered glass under the sun. Strangers smiled at the baby, cooing generic praises. "What a cutie!" But Elias saw the undercurrent, the lingering stares at the gay dad solo with his miracle child. In this progressive bubble of Portland, progress was patchwork. Headlines still screamed of rollback bills in red states, clinics closing under pressure. He paused at a bench, pulling River into his lap, his tiny fingers wrapping around Elias's thumb. "Hey, little man," Elias murmured, inhaling the milky scent of him. "Your dad's out there fighting dragons, so you can dream big." River gurgled, kicking chubby legs, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to this pure, unfiltered connection. But his phone rang, shattering it. Theo, the Seattle ghost, voice tentative. "Eli?" Saw your exhibit online. Killer stuff. Can we talk? Elias's grip tightened. Theo had vanished after the rally. His betrayal in forwarding that old clinic letter a wound still raw. What do you want? Theo exhaled, static crackling. To apologize. I was jealous, man. Of your life, your family. Sent that letter to, I don't know, shake things up. Thought it'd make you see. Elias's laugh was bitter. River fussing at the tone. See what? That you're a coward. Silence stretched. Then Theo's voice cracked. Maybe, but you're thriving. Makes me want to try. Elias hung up without reply. Chest tight. Wheeling back home with the encounter gnawing like hunger. Jasper arrived that evening, tie loosened, carrying takeout from screen door. Fried chicken that filled the air with savory warmth. He scooped River up, burying his face in the baby's neck, eliciting squeals. How's my boys? Dinner was easy chatter. Jasper's win in court, Elias's latest mural commission for a local LGBTQ center. But as they bathed River, bubbles foaming in the sink, Elias let the words spill. Theo called. Jasper froze, loofah mid-scrub. What did he want? Elias met his eyes in the mirror. Absolution. Like it's that simple. Jasper's jaw set, water dripping. He's poison. Block him. But Elias saw the flicker, Jasper's own guilt mirrored in the doubt. You signed that waiver, Jazz. Forgiveness isn't a switch. Jasper handed River over, towel soft, and pulled Elias close, water beating on their shirts. I know. Every day I wake up grateful you didn't walk. But trust. We rebuild it, brick by brick. They stood there, River between them, the steam curling like unspoken vows. Winter crept in early that year, frosting the bridges in lace, the city hunkering under gray skies. River's first Christmas was a quiet affair. A tree strung with popcorn garlands in the loft, Jasper's mother arriving from Philly with suitcases of gifts and a thawed demeanor. He's perfect, she admitted over eggnog, holding River as carols played low. Takes after you, Jasper, the eyes. Elias watched from the kitchen, stirring mulled wine, the warmth seeping into bones chilled by memory. She'd cornered him later, by the window overlooking twinkling lights. I was wrong, Elias, about all of it. This boy's proof. Love finds a way. Mara and her family joined via video, the screen alive with chaos. Kids shrieking, her husband wrangling wrapping paper. To new beginnings, she toasted, and Elias felt it. The family's edges softening, doubts dissolving in the glow of shared joy. But joy was fleeting. Jasper's caseload swelled, a landmark suit against a national chain denying fertility coverage to queer couples pulling him into marathon sessions. Nights stretched long, Elias rocking River alone, the loft echoing with absence. It peaked in January, a storm burying the city in ice. Jasper stumbled home at midnight, briefcase heavy, eyes hollow. Elias waited, River asleep in the bassinet. Another all-nighter? Jasper nodded, shedding his coat. They're stonewalling. If we lose. Elias stepped close, voice steady. You won't. But we're here, Jazz. Not some footnote. Jasper's hands framed his face, thumbs brushing cheeks. You're my anchor. Always. They fell into bed, bodies seeking solace, the ice cracking outside like fragile resolve. Spring brought renewal, tulips pushing through soil in the community garden where Elias volunteered, teaching art to queer youth. River toddled now at 9 months, his first steps a wobbly conquest across the loft's rugs, Jasper cheering like he'd won the Super Bowl. Elias captured it in photos, the gallery walls filling with their story. A series titled River's Bend. Images of hands intertwined, small feet in oversized boots, the Willamette as metaphor for bends in fate. But conflict stirred anew. The clinic called a follow-up study on the trial participants, offering stipends for data. Jasper pushed for it, eyes alight. This could fund your solo show, Eli, and help others. Elias hesitated, scars itching. Or reopen wounds. What if they probe too deep? Jasper's enthusiasm dimmed, but the seed was planted. Theo resurfaced too, emailing sketches from his own exhibit in Seattle, an olive branch of mutual art. No strings, the note read. Elias showed Jasper, who sighed. Your call, but guard your heart. Elias attended the study alone, the sterile room evoking ghosts. Monitors hummed, questions probing, regrets, side effects, relational strains. Any betrayals? The researcher asked clinically, and Elias's throat closed. We all have them. The point is surviving. Driving home, River's carrier secure, he felt the pull, Theo's email unanswered. Jasper's late dinners a quiet drift. Was history rhyming, doubts circling like vultures? The climax brewed in May under blooming dogwoods. Jasper's suit hit a snag. The chain's lawyers unearthed dirt on a witness. A queer dad who'd backed out of a similar trial citing emotional devastation. Whispers reached the press, headlines twisting. Miracle or mistake? Queer fertility under fire. Reporters camped outside the loft. Mics thrust like accusations. Jasper shielded Elias, but the stress seeped in. Elias's migraines returning, River's cries sharper. One night, after a brutal deposition, Jasper came home to find Elias packing a bag. What the hell? River wailed from the playpen, sensing fracture. Elias's eyes blazed. I can't breathe, Jazz. The world's watching, waiting for us to crack. And you? You're the hero, charging ahead, leaving us in the dust. Jasper dropped his keys, voice breaking. I'm fighting for us, for River to grow up without this bullshit. Elias laughed, hollow. Or you're chasing redemption, proving you're not the doubter who signed that paper. The words landed like blows, Jasper recoiling. Is that what you think? After everything? He grabbed the bag, hurling it across the room, toys scattering. Fine, go. See if Theo's got room for your miracles. The name slipped, venom born of old jealousy, and silence crashed down. Elias snatched River, storming to the nursery, door slamming. Jasper pounded once, then nothing, the loft a tomb of echoes. Mara arrived at dawn, summoned by a frantic text. She found Jasper on the couch, head in hands, Elias barricaded with River. Talk, you idiots, she commanded, herding them to the kitchen over coffee. Words tumbled. Jasper's fear of becoming his absent father, Elias's terror of erasure. I feel like the vessel, Elias admitted, tears hot. Not the partner. Jasper reached across the table, hand trembling. You're my everything. I got lost in the fight. Mara nodded, River on her lap gnawing a teether. Then find your way back. For him. They did, slowly. Jasper scaled back the suit, delegating to juniors, evenings reclaimed for bedtime stories and walks. Elias reached out to Theo, not for reconciliation, but boundaries. We're good, but stay in your lane. The email closed a chapter, trust rebuilding on clearer lines. The gallery show opened in June. River's Bend drawing tears and applause, buyers whispering, this is hope. Summer deepened. River's first birthday, a picnic by the river. Blanket spread, cake smeared on chubby cheeks. Family gathered under the sun. Jasper's mother toasted with sparkling cider. To fates changed, one laugh at a time. Elias watched Jasper chase their son through grass, heart swelling. Betrayals had scarred, conflicts tested. But here, in the bend of the current, they flowed on deeper, stronger. Fall circled back, leaves aflame once more. Elias sketched by the window, River napping, Jasper's head on his shoulder. Think we'll make it? Jasper murmured. Elias smiled, lacing fingers. We already have. The rest is just living it. And in Portland's eternal rain, they did. A family forged in fire, key to a fate not conquered, but cherished. The wheel of seasons turned relentless in Portland. Fall's fire yielding to winter's hush. Snow blanketing the city in a hush of white that muffled even the Willamette's murmur. Elias Thorne, now 29, felt the years layering like varnish on his sketches. Subtle shifts in the lines of his face, a quiet confidence in his stride as he navigated the loft's familiar chaos. River was 18 months, a whirlwind of words and wonder. "Dad, air up?" he demanded, arms outstretched to Jasper, or Eli draw, tugging at Elias's sleeve toward the ever-growing mural that now spanned the living room wall, a living tapestry of their life. Rivers merging, bridges arching, small hands reaching for stars. Jasper Hale had settled into fatherhood like a suit tailored just for him, his once sharp edges softened by sippy cups and playground negotiations. The landmark suit had settled out of court, a quiet victory that opened doors for queer fertility access in Oregon. Jasper's name whispered in activist circles with reverence. But success bred its own shadows. Invitations poured in, panels in San Francisco, keynotes in D.C., pulling at the threads of their domestic weave. "Just one night," Jasper would say, kissing Elias goodbye, suitcase in hand, leaving the loft feeling vast and echoey. Elias filled the voids with his art, the gallery show birthing commissions that paid the bills and fed his soul. Portraits for a trans shelter, murals for a youth center in Old Town. He taught workshops there, too, guiding teens with markers and patience, their stories spilling like ink, rejections, revelations, the raw ache of becoming. "Your proof?" one boy told him, eyes wide on River tumbling nearby. "That it gets better." Elias would nod, throat tight, remembering his own Willow Bend winters, dreaming of escape. Mara's visits were anchors, her family expanding with a second on the way, her minivan a rolling confessional. "Pregnancy brain's a bitch," she'd gripe over tea, feet up, while her kids chased River in chaotic tag. But her counsel cut deep. "Jasper's glowing, but watch the drift. Heroes get lonely too." Elias heard the echo of her words one February evening, storm winds howling, as Jasper's flight delayed yet again. River fussed, teething and feverish, Elias pacing the loft with him, phone silent. When Jasper finally called, voice tinny from O'Hare, "Stuck in snow. Love you." The words landed flat, exhaustion fraying the line. Theo's shadow lingered peripherally. After Elias's firm boundaries, he'd faded to occasional likes on social media, his Seattle life a distant hum. But betrayal's lesson stuck. Trust was a garden weeded daily. Elias confided in Riley, his old beanery boss, now a bar owner in the Alberta Arts District, over late-night pie at her spot. "Men," Riley snorted, pouring bourbon. "They conquer the world and forget the castle." Her laugh was gravel and grace, reminding Elias of the chosen family that buffered blood ties. Spring erupted in riotous color, cherry blossoms carpeting the paths of Forest Park where Elias and River hiked on weekends, Jasper joining when schedules aligned. River pointed at birds, chirping "fly, fly," his vocabulary blooming like the azaleas. One such outing under a canopy of green, Jasper dropped to one knee. Not proposal but play, offering a daisy chain to Elias. "Marry me," he said, half jest, half heart, River clapping gleefully. Elias's breath caught, the question hanging like pollen in the air. "Thought we already were," he teased. But the seed took root, conversations blooming over dinners about rings and vows, a ceremony to seal their bend in fate. Yet conflict simmered in summer's heat. Jasper's rising profile drew scrutiny. An op-ed in the Oregonian praising his work, but slyly questioning experimental family stability. Citing anonymous sources, whispers of the clinic trials, high dropout rates. Reporters circled again, one ambushing Elias at the youth center. Mike thrust. "Mr. Thorne, does fatherhood change your views on traditional values?" River on his hip, Elias's voice steel. "Love's the only tradition that matters." The clip went viral, drawing support and trolls in equal measure, the loft's inbox flooding with messages. Hate mail scrawled in caps, fan art of River as a superhero. Jasper internalized it. Nights pacing the balcony overlooking the bridge, scotch in hand. "They're coming for us," he'd mutter, and Elias would pull him inside, grounding him with touches and truths. "Let them. We've got the key." But tension coiled, manifesting in small fractures. Jasper snapping at River's spills, Elias withdrawing to his studio, charcoal snapping under pressure. Mara noticed during a barbecue at her place in Eugene, the grill smoking with burgers, kids splashing in a kiddie pool. "You're both wound tight," she said, cornering them by the fence. "Talk before it snaps." The snap came in August, humidity thick as regret. Jasper jetted to a conference in New York, promising an early return, but a keynote extension stranded him. Elias, solo with River's croup turning nights to vigils, felt the old abandonment rise. When Jasper finally landed, Elias met him at the door, eyes stormy. "I can't be the single parent while you play savior." Jasper dropped his bag, weariness etching deeper. "This is for our future scholarships, security." River toddled between, oblivious, but Elias scooped him up, barrier firm. "Futures now, Jazz. Or what's left to secure?" The argument escalated, voices rising over River's whimpers. Jasper accusing Elias of fragility, Elias hurling the waiver's ghost. "You bailed once. Don't make it habit." Jasper stormed out, to the balcony, the city lights blurring through unshed tears. Hours later, he returned, kneeling by the couch where Elias dozed with River. "I'm sorry," he whispered, hand on Elias's knee. "The world's pull. I forget our gravity." Dawn found them entwined, apologies murmured into skin, rebuilding in the quiet way of survivors. Fall brought harvest, a wedding planned in Willow Bend. Simple, under the old oak in his parents' yard, River murmuring witness. Invites went out, Mara officiating, Riley DJing, Jasper's mom baking the cake. Theo declined gracefully, his card reading, "Happiest for you. Stay fierce." The ceremony was sun-dappled perfection. Vows exchanged with River between, flower boy in tiny suspenders, laughter mingling with the breeze. "I choose you, every bend," Jasper said. Ring sliding home, and Elias echoed, tears salting the kiss. Winter deepened their roots. River's second Christmas alive with his chatter. Tree, lights, the loft a haven of twinkle and warmth. Jasper turned down a DC fellowship, opting for local impact, evenings reclaimed for storytime and snuggles. Elias's murals graced billboards now, messages of identity beaming over highways. Be the key. But humanism whispered in the margins. A call from the clinic, a participant struggling post-birth, depression clawing. Elias mentored quietly, sharing scars. "It's not failure, it's the forge." Climax shadowed in spring, River 3 now, a tornado of questions and cuddles. Jasper's firm faced a countersuit from the chain, alleging ethical breaches in the trial. Names leaked, Elias's included. Panic flared, custody whispers, media frenzy. Reporters swarmed the youth center, one cornering River at preschool pickup. "Is Daddy's baby a science experiment?" The boy, confused, parroted home, and Elias's world tilted, rage and fear colliding. He confronted Jasper at the office, bursting into a meeting, voice shattering, glass calm. "They're at our son." Jasper paled, ushering him out, but the dam broke. Accusations flying, old doubts unearthed. "You brought this storm," Elias lashed. Jasper's retort stung. "And you signed up for the lightning." They parted fractured, Elias fleeing to Mara's, River in tow, the drive a blur of rain-lashed wipers. Days blurred in Eugene, fort building with cousins, Mara's hugs a bomb. Jasper called ceaselessly, voicemails raw. "I need you. We fight together." Mara mediated a call, her voice bridge. "He's scared, Eli. Like you were." Elias returned, the loft dim, Jasper waiting with River's favorite bear. "No more solo battles," Jasper vowed, and they collapsed into forgiveness, bodies and souls aligning. The suit resolved in summer's swelter, a settlement expanding rights, Jasper's closing argument a masterpiece of compassion. Fate isn't changed by laws alone, but by hearts that hold. River's third birthday followed, a park bash with balloons and cake, family toasting under blue skies. Elias watched Jasper spin their son in circles, laughter pealing, and knew the key turned both ways, unlocking not just doors, but the tender core of endurance. As leaves turned once more, Elias sketched their trio by the river, lines fluid as water. "Think the world's ready?" Jasper asked, chin on his shoulder. Elias smiled, river splashing nearby. "It will be, because we are." In Portland's cycle, they endured, a romance etched in resilience, humanistic hymn to love's quiet power. Summer's languid heat clung to Portland like a lover reluctant to leave, the air thick with the scent of grilled corn from food carts and the distant tang of the Pacific born on westerly breezes. Elias Thorne, 30 now, wore the years with a grace born of trials weathered. His fair skin kissed by sun into a scattering of new freckles, blue eyes holding depths that spoke of storms navigated and sunrises reclaimed. The loft had evolved into a sanctuary of organized chaos. River's toys corralled in baskets woven from his grandparents' garden twine, Elias's easel permanent fixture by the floor-to-ceiling windows, capturing the bridge's eternal vigil over the Willamette. River Hailthorne was 3.5, a sprite of boundless energy with Jasper's olive undertones warming his cheeks and a mop of curls that defied combs. His questions peppered days like fireflies. "Why rain, Daddy?" Or "Eli, draw dragon?" Elias obliged, their afternoons a ritual of creation. Crayons melting into fantastical beasts on butcher paper. River's giggles the soundtrack. Jasper, ever the balancer, scooped them into evenings of park picnics or bike rides along the Springwater corridor, his laughter a bass note to their symphony. The wedding's afterglow lingered, their union a quiet legend in queer circles. Photos shared in newsletters, invitations to panels where Jasper spoke of love's legal lattice. Elias joined sporadically, his voice a poet's counterpoint. Art renders the invisible visible. Family makes it indelible. Commissions flowed, a mural for the airport depicting intertwined rivers as metaphor for blended lives. Travelers pausing mid-stride to trace the lines. Mara, belly round with her third, teased over brunches. "You're famous now. Big bro, don't forget us mortals." Her home in Eugene was a way station, weekends filled with cousin chaos and her husband's barbecues. The family knit tighter by shared histories. Yet beneath the bloom, undercurrents stirred. Jasper's mother, visiting from Philly with suitcases of cannoli and stories, confided one evening over wine on the balcony. "He's driven, my boy, like his father, God rest him. But drive blinds." Elias nodded, watching city lights wink, remembering the waver's sting. "We've learned to signal turns." She patted his hand, rosary beads clicking softly. "Good. Fate favors the watchful." Fall arrived with a whisper, leaves drifting like confetti from unseen parades. River started preschool at a co-op in the Hawthorne district, his backpack comically oversized, first-day tears drying to waves goodbye. Elias lingered at drop-off, heart twisting at the milestone, then wandered to the youth center for his workshop. The kids there, a mosaic of genders and graces, poured hearts onto canvases, stories of coming out, of families fractured and mended. One girl, 16 with purple-streaked hair, shyly showed a piece. Two figures bridging a chasm, labeled Dads and Me. "Like you," she said. Elias swallowed, pride and ache mingling. "Like us all." Theo's path crossed theirs unexpectedly at a gallery opening in the Pearl, Elias's solo show, Keys to the Bend, a retrospective of their journey. Theo approached, older, lines of regret etching his face, glass of Pinot in hand. "Stunning," he said, gesturing to a piece of jasper cradling newborn River. "You captured the light." Elias tensed, but Jasper's hand on his back steadied. "Thanks. Life's been kind." Theo nodded, eyes down. "Deserved. I started therapy. Owning my shit." No plea for more, just a nod and fade into the crowd. Later, in the car with sleeping River, Jasper murmured, "You did good. Mercy without chains." Winter's grip tightened, Holidays a whirlwind of traditions blended. Jasper's Italian feast of the 7 fishes merging with Willow Ben's turkey trots. His parents' craftsmen aglow with lights. River marveled at the tree. Stars inside. His wonder infectious. But joy's underbelly showed in small ways. Jasper's cough lingering from a conference cold. Elias's hands cramping mid-sketch from old fatigue echoes. Mara, post-birth with her daughter, called tearful one night. Motherhood's a marathon, Eli. Pace yourself. Her words echoed when Jasper jetted to a DC summit, leaving Elias to solo parent through a flu that felled River. Nights of cool cloths and story marathons. Spring unfurled tentative, dogwoods blushing along the streets. River's 4th birthday was a woodland theme in Laurelhurst Park. Forts of branches, cake shaped like a fox, family gathered under canopies. Jasper's closing gift, a swing set for the loft's tiny balcony. River's squeals piercing the air as he pumped legs skyward. Higher, Papa. Elias watched, chest full, but caught Jasper's wince, the cough persisting, dismissed as allergies. Conflict crested in May, the city blooming while shadows lengthened. Jasper collapsed at a client meeting, rushed to OHSU, diagnosis landing like thunder. Pneumonia complicated by an underlying autoimmune flare. Stress ignited, the doctor said, from years of relentless advocacy. Elias arrived breathless. River with Mara in tow, the sterile hall blurring. Jasper lay pale, for dripping eyes finding his. Sorry, love. Pushed too hard. Elias gripped his hand, voice fierce. Rest, or I'll chain you to the bed. Laughter bubbled weak, but fear coiled. Echoes of the pregnancy's risks, the fragility they danced around. Recovery was a slow uncoiling. Weeks of home care, Jasper sidelined on the couch with River as nurse, building block towers and reading where the wild things are. Elias juggled commissions and center shifts, exhaustion a constant companion, but resentment flickered. Why didn't you see? Mara stayed a week, her baby in a bassinet, cooking stews and corralling kids. He's human, Eli, she said over dishwater steam. Even heroes break. Jasper overheard, pulling Elias aside one night, balcony stars witnesses. I scared you, again, but this is a sign. Slow down with me. Vows renewed in whispers, hands clasped over the railing. The river below a silver thread of persistence. Summer healed, Jasper's strength returning in tandem with the sun. They vacationed in Cannon Beach, toes in tide pools, River chasing crabs with a net, the haystack rock a sentinel. Evenings by bonfires, Esmore's sticky on fingers, Jasper's stories of Philly summers weaving with Elias's Willow Bend tales. This is the key, Jasper said, arm around Elias as waves crashed. Not changing fate, but savoring it. Intimacy rekindled slow, bodies rediscovering in the rental's loft bed. Rivers snores a soft chorus. Fall brought new rhythms. Jasper consulting part-time, Elias's book deal. A graphic memoir, The Bend We Share, illustrations breathing life into their story. River thrived in preschool, friendships budding like milkweed. But climax loomed in October, a call from the youth center. Funding cuts, workshops axed, the girl with the bridge painting facing homelessness. Elias rallied, organizing a fundraiser art auction at the gallery, Jasper's legal muscle securing donors. The night hummed, bids flying, speeches soaring, but midway, a heckler from a family values group stormed the mic. This glorifies perversion. Your miracles destroy society. Gasps rippled, River wide-eyed in Mara's lap. Jasper surged forward, voice thunder. Perversion is fear that chains us. Love, that's the liberator. Security escorted the man out, but the venom lingered, headlines twisting the event. Elias, post-show, confronted Jasper in the green room. You charged in like always. What if it escalates? Jasper's eyes flashed. Hide? That's surrender. The drive home crackled. River asleep in the back. Words unspoken until home. I'm tired of defending, Elias admitted, sinking to the floor, of being the poster child. Jasper knelt, forehead to his. Then let's redefine. Not fight, but fortify. They called allies Mara for emotional scaffolding, Riley for strategy, turning backlash to bridge building. Op-eds on compassion's core, workshops reframed for all families. The hecklers' group splintered under scrutiny, their leader exposed for hypocrisies. A quiet win. Winter wrapped them gentle, River's first school play. A tree in the giving tree, branches waving proud. Holidays glowed, the loft a hearth of stories and songs. Jasper's mother gifted heirloom ornaments, her embrace lingering. You've taught me grace. Elias's parents hosted New Year's, fireworks over the river, toasts to endurance. As snow fell soft, Elias sketched by the fire, river curled in Jasper's lap. Think we've turned the corner? Jasper asked, fingers tracing his wrist. Elias leaned in, smile soft. Every bend's a choice. We choose forward. In Portland's hush, their love, a humanistic ode to fragility's strength, illuminated the dark key to fates not just changed, but cherished in their infinite, imperfect flow. The cycle of Portland's weather mirrored the quiet undulations of their life, spring's tentative greens giving way to summer's bold palette, the city pulsing with festivals and farmers' markets where River darted between stalls, sampling berries that stained his fingers purple. Elias Thorne, at 31, carried the poise of a man who'd mapped his own atlas, faint silver threading his chestnut hair, blue eyes alight with the mischief of creation. The loft brimmed with evidence of their evolution. Bookshelves groaning under River's picture books and Elias's memoir proofs. The mural now a collaborative chaos with the boys' handprints dotting the edges like stars. River, 5 now, was a philosopher in sneakers, his questions evolving. Why do bridges hold, Eli? Or, Papa, can love be a dragon? Jasper fielded them with lawyer's logic laced with whimsy. Their evenings a tribunal of tales around the dinner table. Pad thai from a cart, or Jasper's risotto attempts that ended in laughter over charred pans. The marriage, 2 years strong, wove deeper. Anniversaries marked with balcony dances to Coltrane. River guarding with a flashlight sword. Elias's book launched to acclaim. The Bend We Share, a bestseller in LGBTQ sections. Readings drawing crowds who clutched copies like talismans. You gave words to my silence, a fan whispered post-event, and Elias hugged him, River peeking from behind the signing table. Jasper's consulting bloomed into a nonprofit, Bridge Rights, advocating for family equity, his days filled with strategy sessions and grant writing. Mara, with 3 underfoot, joked over coffee runs. You're living the dream we all chase, messy, but yours. Her visits were lifelines. Eugene escapes where kids merged in mud pies, her husband grilling tales of his own coming out. Jasper's mother became a fixture, winters in Philly yielding to Portland springs, her cannoli recipe now loft staple. You've built what I couldn't, she told Elias one afternoon, rocking a napping River. A home that bends, doesn't break. Willow Bend called too, his parents' craftsmen upgraded with a playroom, holidays a blend of traditions, Thanksgiving turkeys beside Jasper's 7 fishes, the River's edge picnics where River skipped stones, declaring, wishes. Shadows, though, were the price of light. Theo reemerged at a Bridge Rights gala, now a therapist in Seattle, his toast sincere, to Elias, who taught forgiveness without forgetting. Jasper clapped, but Elias's smile was measured, the past a faint echo. Health whispers returned, Jasper's flare-ups managed with meds, Elias's prenatal echoes in annual checks, but stress-tested seems. A donor pulled from the nonprofit over controversial origins, citing the old trial headlines, Jasper's nights lengthening in damage control. Fall crisped the air, pumpkins lining Hawthorne stoops. River's kindergarten loomed, applications to progressive schools, a maze of essays on family values. Elias poured heart into his. Our bend is our strength. Love that defies, endures. Acceptance came, but so did a parent's note at orientation. Curious about your arrangement. Elias's reply, polite steel. Ours is love. What's yours? The exchange fizzled, but unease settled. Conflict ignited in November. Rain relentless as regrets. Bridge rights scored a win, state bill for inclusive fertility mandates, but backlash brewed. A coalition of conservative groups, funded by the old chain, launching ads decrying unnatural experiments. One featured blurred clinic footage, a voiceover intoning, "Protect our children from this fate." Reporters hounded, a van parking outside the loft, mics at school gates. River, sensing tension, regressed. Bedwetting, nightmares of bad dragons. Jasper armored up, rallies and pressers his battlefield. But Elias saw the toll. Hollow cheeks, snapped pencils. "They're using us," Elias said one stormy night. River asleep after tears. Jasper paced, thunder rumbling. "Then we roar back." Elias grabbed his arm. Roar? Or shield? River's scared. The word sparked. Jasper accusing Elias of retreat. Elias lashing with, "You're the dragon now, chasing glory over home." Silence crashed, Jasper grabbing keys, door slamming into the gale. He returned sodden, dawn breaking, collapsing at Elias's feet. "I drove to the bridge. Thought of ending it, not us, the fight. But you're my north." Elias pulled him up. "Forgiveness a flood. Fight smart. With me." They called in reinforcements. Mara for family fort, Riley for street-level buzz. A counter-campaign launched, testimonials from trial families, art installations of Benz in public squares, River's handprint on a banner. Love bridges all. Climax peaked at a town hall in the Moda Center. Coalition reps spewing rhetoric, Jasper countering with data and heart. Fate isn't dictated by fear. It's shaped by the families we foster. Protests outside turned tense, scuffles breaking. A bottle shattering near Elias and River in the crowd. Panic surged. Elias shielding his son, heart hammering echoes of labor's grip. Jasper vaulted from stage, weaving through chaos, enveloping them. "Got you," he breathed, security clearing a path. Home that night, adrenaline crashing. They held River between, his whimpers fading to snores. "No more," Elias whispered. Jasper nodded, resolve hardening. "We pivot. Grassroots, not giants." The bill passed narrowly, victory bittersweet. The coalition fracturing under internal scandals. Leaders outed for hypocrisies, a poetic justice. Winter healed, holidays a hearth of quiet triumphs. River's school Christmas pageant. A star in foil crown, drew cheers, his grandparents beaming. Elias's book tour wrapped with a Willow Bend reading. Locals turning out, his father's gruff, "Proud son." Jasper's nonprofit refocused. Community grants, not grand suits. Evenings free for sledding in Washington Park, snowballs flying. Spring bloomed resilient, River's kindergarten firsts, crayon masterpieces, playground packs. Elias mentored at the center, now funded anew, his workshops, Bend workshops for all. One evening, a dad approached post-session. "My boys like River. Thanks for showing it's okay." Elias hugged him, tears pricking. Summer circled, beach days at seaside, River building sandcastles empires. Jasper proposed a sabbatical month in Italy, Nana's village, roots for their son. "Recharge," he said. Elias agreed, packing dreams. But en route, a call. Theo hospitalized, cancer aggressive. "Just tell Jasper I said sorry, proper like." Elias relayed, Jasper's silence heavy. Then, "We'll visit on return." Fall in Tuscany was olive groves and ancient stones. River chasing goats, words mixing English and Italian. Nana's kitchen, a classroom of love, stories of Jasper's boyhood bridging generations. Back in Portland, they detoured to Seattle, Theo frail but fierce. Forgiveness exchanged in handshakes and tears. "You won," Theo rasped. Jasper shook his head. "We all try." Winter's end brought renewal. River's 6th birthday, a dragon hunt in Forest Park, cake flames flickering wishes. As snow melted to mud, Elias sketched their future. lines curving endless. Fate's key, Jasper mused, chin on shoulder. Elias turned, kissing him soft. Us, always. In the Ben's embrace, their story, a romantic testament to compassion's quiet fire, illuminated paths for those following, hearts free in love's unyielding current. Autumn's palette deepened in Portland, the leaves a final blaze before winter's monochrome veil, the city settling into its introspective rhythm of cozy cafes and early dusks. Elias Thorne, 32, embodied the season's maturity. His frame leaner from yoga and fatherhood's demands, fair skin etched with laugh lines that crinkled when River tackled him in hugs, blue eyes reflecting a soul tempered by tempests into translucent strength. The loft, their anchor these 7 years, pulsed with memory. The mural a vast chronicle now, River's contributions evolving from smudges to deliberate strokes, Jasper's law books stacked beside board books like sentinels of their blended worlds. River, at 6.5, was a force of intellect and empathy, his curls tamed into a faux hawk for school photos, hazel-flecked eyes absorbing the world with voracious curiosity. "Why do people fight love, Papa?" He'd ask over breakfast oatmeal, spoon paused, and Jasper would counter with gentle Socratic turns. "Because fear's a shadow, but light, that's us, chases it." School days filled with science fairs and story circles. River's tales of dragon dads, earning giggles from classmates. His backpack a repository of notes home. River shares beautifully. Elias's graphic memoir spawned a wave. Sequels commissioned. Speaking gigs at universities where students clustered post-talk, hungry for blueprints of resilience. "Your Ben saved me," a non-binary undergrad confided, and Elias pressed his latest sketchbook into their hands, a talisman. Jasper's bridge rights thrived modestly, grants funding mentorship pods for queer youth, his days a tapestry of Zooms and park meets rather than marathons. Mara, her brood a joyful herd, hosted harvest suppers in Eugene, the table groaning under pies, her toast ever the same. To families that flex, his parents, silvered and steady, FaceTimed weekly, Willow Bend's river backdrop to their pride. "Come visit, Eli." The boys getting tall. Jasper's mother wintered with them again, her Philly accent thickening the air with limoncello toasts, confiding over knitting. "Regrets the real thief. You've stolen it back." Theo's passing in early fall marked a somber close. His memorial a small affair in Seattle, Jasper and Elias attending with flowers, River's drawing of a safe bridge left on the urn. "He hurt, but healed," Jasper said in the car, hand on Elias's thigh. "Like us." Winter wrapped early, holidays a mosaic of rituals. Lights strung on the balcony swing, River's hot cocoa mustache rituals, a trip to Philly for Nana's Christmas Eve feast, fish frying in olive oil under twinkling strings. Back home, New Year's Eve found them on the rooftop, city fireworks blooming, River's yawns battling bursts of color. "Promise more Bens?" he mumbled, and Elias whispered, "Endless ones, kiddo." Spring tiptoed in with daffodils and dilemmas. River's questions turning inward. "Am I like other kids? With 2 dads?" Elias fielded with honesty, storytime weaving their origin tale, Jasper adding legal lore on chosen families. The center's workshops expanded, Elias leading key circles for parents navigating identity talks, tears and triumphs shared over tea. One dad, straight but allied, admitted, "I feared the unknown. You showed me it's just love." Conflict stirred in summer simmer, heat waves baking the streets. Bridge rights partnered with a national org, a bold move for wider reach, but strings attached, board oversight metrics that chafed Jasper's vision. "It's compromise," he argued over iced lattes. River splashing in a kiddie pool. Elias frowned, sensing fracture. "Or dilution. Don't lose your fire." The board's first meeting soured, a suit from DC questioning personal biases in funding queer-specific pods, eyes on Jasper's history, whispers of conflict of interest, veiled nods to the trial. Fall rains returned, mirroring the drip of discord. Jasper pushed back, but stress frayed. Sleepless nights, flare-ups quelled with steroids that soured his mood. Elias caught him staring at old photos, Waver's ghost in his gaze. "They're circling," Jasper confessed one pelting evening, River Abed. "Doubting my lead." Elias pulled him close. "Lead with heart. Always has worked." But resentment brewed subtle. Jasper's distance at dinners, Elias's sketches sharpening into thorns. Climax crashed in November, gray skies weeping. The board ousted Jasper. Strategic realignment. The email read, but leaks to press painted him as unstable, dredging trial scandals. Even Theo's death as personal drama. Headlines screamed, "Advocates fall." From miracle to mess, reporters swarmed school, the loft a siege. River, overhearing, drew a sad dragon at recess. Teacher calling Elias. He's withdrawn. Rage and grief collided. Elias storming the boardroom, voice echoing, "You betray the bridge you claim to build." Jasper, shattered, retreated to the balcony, scotch trembling. "I failed them. You, him." Elias found him there, rain mingling with tears. "No, they failed vision. We rebuild." Mara rallied, driving up with reinforcements. His parents' quiet support, Riley's bar as war room. They launched a GoFundMe for an independent bridge rights, testimonials flooding. Youth saved, families forged. Jasper emerged, voice steady in a live stream. "Betrayal bends us, but doesn't break. Join the rebuild." Winter's forge tempered the blow. Funds surpassing goals. New board of allies. Jasper helm again, leaner, wiser. River's holiday concert. A reindeer with antler pipe cleaners. Drew laughs. His hug post-show. Papa's strong dragon. Elias's book tour hit Philly. Jasper's old stomping grounds. Crowds chanting Ben's. A quiet night there. In his childhood room, now guest space. Jasper broke. "Thought I'd lose it all." Elias held him. "You have us. That's all." Spring seeded growth. River's first loose tooth a right, quarters under pillow yielding giggles. The center thrived, key circles national via Zoom. Summer sailed to Cannon Beach again, kites soaring, River's sand empires title defiant. Jasper proposed expanding the family, adoption talks, a sibling for River. "If you're ready," he said, waves lapping. Elias nodded, heart full. "Bend for it." Fall closed the year gentle, leaves crunching under family walks. Elias sketched their quartet to be, lines hopeful. "Fate's key turns both ways," Jasper mused. Elias smiled, River skipping ahead. "Ours opens doors. Wide." In Portland's eternal flow, their romance. A deep dive into freedom's fragile beauty, whispered to the world. Compassion conquers, identity endures, love, the ultimate changer.